So you can't prove God doesn't exist. Well, I don't really need to, do I? Because the one that proposes the idea or proposes the thing generally has the burden of proof. So that just makes sense. So we live in a world, at least generally speaking, I think most people would agree, we live in a world where there does seem to be an absence of a God. At least the whole idea of a God. God isn't necessarily apparent to us, and if he were, we wouldn't be having this discussion. I wouldn't be making this video, and people wouldn't be, let's say, in very heated discussions about whether or not God exists. So we wouldn't be having this discussion if it was readily apparent to everyone that there is a God. There wouldn't be such skepticism in the world, and throughout history for that matter. Atheism is by no means a new thing. So it strikes me as a bit odd that we get these comments and these arguments. To be fair, write what you like. It's a fair question as well. I can see the appeal of putting such a thing in a comment or a reply or something like that. It does seem on the surface to make sense, but then it's for the people making the proposition, isn't it, to come up with justification or evidence for the truth of that proposition or idea or thing, whatever it is they're arguing for, or whatever it is they're putting forward. So in a recent comment, I used the whole idea of being a millionaire. So if I say to you now, like if I look in the camera and say, oh I'm a millionaire, I'm Mr. Swanky Pants or whatever, and you're naturally going to turn around and think, well, you don't look like a millionaire. I mean, that's very superficial, isn't it? It's a bit daft. But if I were a millionaire, you would expect me to have certain things about me, certain material possessions, let's say, maybe a certain number of zeros in my bank account and all that kind of thing. There'd be indications of my millionaire status, wouldn't there? So I'd have the fancy yacht, I'd have the Ferrari or whatever it is rich people drive. Obviously I'm not a millionaire, so I don't know. And I'd have all these crazy things, or all these things associated with being a millionaire. If you was to naturally say, oh, that's really cool, Adam, can I see your fleet of cars, like Tony Stark style, or can you buy me a Versace pair of shoes or Louis Vuitton like handbag or something like that, and I couldn't back it up, then I can give it all that. I can say, yeah, I'm a millionaire, I'm this, that, and the other, but basically I'm just blowing smoke out my arse. I'm just talking out my arse. So it's the one that proposes the thing, or the one that comes up with the idea, or says X is true, or X is in the world. Well, then if it's not readily apparent, if there's no evidence there to suggest that X is there, then naturally you'll want ABC reasons or justifications. At least most rational thinking people would want to see those things that back up that claim. So that's why I've always found this question, it's kind of deceptive to me, because it's on the surface, it seems quite reasonable. So, well, you can't prove that God doesn't exist. Therefore, there might be some window to sort of believe in him. But then at the same time, it's like, well, it doesn't really work like that, does it? So we live in a world where the absence of God is the status quo. So that the whole thing is we live in this world. God doesn't fly down and save me when I fall into a lake or something like that. Or if I'm praying to God, the light's gone a little bit. If I'm praying to God for, I don't know, to help me be a better person in some way, like get fitter or be richer, become that millionaire. if I'm doing that, and there's like odds are it's not going to make much difference praying. So God isn't readily apparent, and so it's not really for me to pray. I don't need to do anything. It's just, well, where is this God? Where is the Christian God? Where is the Islamic God? Where is Zeus or whatever God you poison? Or it's not readily apparent to me, and so it's not really for me to prove anything. If you want to advocate for a certain God or a certain religion, then it's for you to prove the thing itself, isn't it? That makes sense, at least. So yeah, I just wanted to do a quick one on that question. Seems a bit bizarre to me, but let me know what you think. Just a short one today. Not too sure about this kind of question. Yeah, fair, knock yourself out. I mean, if you want to, if you want to write that, it doesn't come from a place of annoyance. If anything, I actually welcomed a similar comment and the whole issue, because I thought it was an interesting idea to talk about and an interesting question to address. So thank you very much. I'll put your name there, because my memory isn't that great. Probably lack of sleep. But yeah, interesting question, and always found it a bit odd, that one. But yeah. Just a quick one today. I'll see you soon with another one.